Mr. Pearson, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm
Yep.
really excited to be here. Yeah, because like for me, these are the kind of platforms that I enjoy, so that I can address the world and tell them about the talent, the great talent I have, which I want to take to a high level. Yes.
And I love that you said that, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. To some, your parents probably, you're a child, you're their son. To others, you're a businessman because you've got a business going on. Others, you're just a writer. To me, yeah, a close friend. So I'm also privileged to be interviewing you. I'm happy that you requested that I be the one to interview you. And because we're out of time, let's hurry along fast. So the first question we can based on, and I feel like the question that's on a lot of people's minds is, who is Bason first? Who is Bason?
Bason is an author. Yeah, written 4 books so far, and I come from the small mining town of Longshore. Yeah.
So what inspired you to write this book, and how did you come up with the concept for it?
For this book, I can't exactly pinpoint where that I got the inspiration from here, because the only thing I can remember right now is me beginning to write this book, and the things that I can give credit to are the forces that were like driving me to keep writing. Yeah, like one of the things was this one conversation I had with a friend. Like it was some sort of debate, and when I was talking to this friend, I wasn't myself. I had taken out like the character of one of my characters in the same book at the time I was working on it, and I was talking to her like that, and it was like it was like bringing out some certain reactions, which later on after the conversation was done, I looked through the conversation and I captured some of the things from the conversation and I included them in the book. And then the other thing is that on Facebook also, like when I was going through Facebook, I was coming across certain posts which were in line with the book. Like they were telling me to say, you have to write this book because the world needs it. Yeah, and the particular topic which this book is focused on is heartbreaks. Like I know a lot of people, some people don't take it seriously. Like you would maybe talk to your friend about a heartbreak you went through and they wouldn't take you serious, or they would just think of you as somebody who's weak and stuff. So in this book, I'm trying like to educate people about how lethal or how damaging heartbreaks can be. Like I've seen sometimes like really big artists, big people who are up there get broken by heartbreaks. Like they just lose their way, they can't focus anymore on their work, and sometimes never even get back to the level that they were. So this book is basically focused on that.
So, and wow, because I was about to give my own story of heartbreak, and I just remember this is going to be aired publicly, so we'll have a conversation on my own story of heartbreak later on. But I noticed you have a boxing YouTube channel as well, where you
Yes.
review boxers.
Exactly.
So many authors usually draw inspiration from other authors and their ways.
Yes.
I wonder how much of an influence the boxing figure, which I presume is Muhammad Ali, has even on your work. Maybe you could tell us a bit about that.
Oh yeah, for me, boxers, more like most of them are like my role models, the people I get inspiration from. Like looking at the stuff that they go through in the ring, like you get beaten up so bad, you get dropped and stuff, but you still like keep on going. You have that determination to win, and that's I try to draw inspiration from that and keep going no matter what I go through and stuff. I just keep on going. Like the number of guys that I can mention: Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Arturo Gatti, all those people. Like they just like I'm almost every time hearing their voices. Like they're rooting for me. They're telling me to keep going no matter how hard things get. So those people are just like always in my mind every time, even right now, wherever I am, they're just like ever pushing me to keep going.
That's powerful, Mika Bison. That's powerful, and I see that boxer mindset within you. So it also leads me to, because this guy has probably had a lot of challenges. So I'm going to have to ask you now, what challenge did you face? What was the biggest challenge you faced in writing the book, and how did you overcome it?
The biggest challenge. Writing for me, I can't call anything a challenge when I'm writing or I'm working on something, yeah, putting words on paper, because writing for me is more like my comfort zone. Yeah, like whenever I'm going through a certain problem, yeah, when I begin writing, I just like more like become at peace. So for me, I don't consider anything during writing as being a challenge. Even if it's a challenge, but it will be a good one. Like it will teach me something at the end of it all. So there's nothing that I can call a challenge during writing. It's more like it's some sort of a perfect moment for me.
I understand based on your story. When I hear your story, I remember Eminem's story as well. I guess it's more of, for him it was when the world gives him, I want to say crap. The world gives him crap. He always used to resort to writing raps. That was his safe space.
Right.
So I understand when you say no challenges there. But what do you think the characters in your book can teach people about themselves and the world?
Specifically this coming book.
Yes, this kind of book.
Like I said earlier on, it's basically about heartbreaks, like educating people how damaging they can be. Like it's a story, yeah, telling people about that same particular topic, yeah. So it's just like heartbreaks, basically.
So, and this one I feel like I guess you basically touched on it here and there, but just to pinpoint it, writing can be an incredibly vulnerable process.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the moments during the writing of this book where you felt particularly exposed? Like maybe the emotions from the heartbreak I had with Motinta came flooding in.
Oh yeah. For this book, I did things a little bit different. Yeah, you talked about vulnerable. What else? Can you?
Vulnerable. I'm talking about a situation where you felt particularly exposed.
Exposed.
Yes, like.
Okay, yeah. So for this book, when writing it, I did things a little bit different. Like there's this one book. There's a guy called Marvin Marvelous Hegler. Yeah. Like for him, before going out preparing, when he was preparing for fights, like he used to put himself in some sort of isolation. Yeah. Isolation is not something that is good. That's why in certain prisons, like to really punish someone, they put them in an isolated place. Yeah. So this guy, for him, used to like put himself in isolation so that he can 100% focus on the task ahead of him. Yeah, think about how he's going to destroy the guy, the opponent and stuff. And for me, I picked up that same stuff, like in writing this book. Like I was staying alone in a room for at least 2 months. Yeah, just focused on reading and writing, working on this book day in day out, such kind of stuff. It was, yeah, I can call it lonely at some point, but I always like used to get the joy, the one I always get from writing. Yeah, it was like a whole new different experience for me. But yeah, that kind of a thing.
Wow. That's how in tune and focused you are.
Yeah.
And that's very impressive because not a lot of people have that based on. I'm hoping it's a drive you also acknowledge to say like, not a lot of people are built like me, not a lot of people are like me, but not a lot of people are like you. So what advice would you give to aspiring writers who may be struggling with self-doubt or the challenges of the creative process? And this is all to say because you're an engineer, you've got all this by the side, you've got all this and you're still writing and there are challenges, probably even just with publishing, there are money challenges. What advice would you give aspiring writers who want to be like based on?
One advice I can give them is just never giving up. Like for me, I have this guy who is called Joe Louis. Yeah, this guy, like he was born in a really, really poor family. Like he existed in a time when that was in America. He existed in a time when black people weren't allowed to drink from the same water fountains as whites. And the other thing is like the black fighters, yeah, we weren't allowed to contend for titles, to fight for belts, yeah. But for this guy, what he did was he, regardless of all those things, he still became a boxer and he had that dream. And his trainer told him one thing to say, if you ever dream of becoming the heavyweight champion of the world, you have to be twice as good as the competition. So basically the situation you're in, like shouldn't really matter. Like you really have to go for what you want to do. Yeah, regardless of where you are, the location, whatever, you just have to go for what you want to become. So this guy Jordan is like, he took that to heart and he really worked hard and made himself to be so strong that he knocked out almost everyone that was put in front of him. And it reached a level where these white guys couldn't avoid him, overlook him anymore. They gave him a title shot, despite the fact that they didn't give it freely to him, like the way they would give it to a white fighter. Like they made him sign a contract which was so unfair, where they told him to say his opponent, who was a champion at the time, a white guy, would be getting a certain portion of his future paychecks. Yeah, like the money that he was to get from the future fights, the guy was to get a certain percentage of it. But regardless of that, the guy still signed the contract, and I believe even me, if I was in the same position, I would do the same, because that was the only way to, get his dream come a reality. Yeah. So the guy fought the white guy, he knocked him out, he became the world champion, and the one thing that really moves me about this whole story of Joe Louis is the fact is the reaction of the black people, the black community, how they reacted to the whole thing. Yeah. After he won, the guys took to the streets, celebrating their fellow who had won a world title. Yeah, and for them, that celebration was more like they were sending a message to the whites to tell them to say, if you give us an opportunity, if you give us a chance to compete against you, we can be as good as you are, even better. Yeah, and then later on, like after time, like some guy was asked to say, how exactly was the celebrations? How much was the intensity of these celebrations when they were happening and stuff? And the guy just like, he was quiet for a little moment. Then he said he had to be there to really understand the level of the hype and the excitement that was there. And then another guy said you have to combine about at least two, 3 Christmases to equal the amount of joy that was there. Yeah, and these people, the blacks, this guy was more like a symbol of pride, like he more like represented them. You get it right? Like he more like represented them, and black parents would tell their kids to say, if Joe Louis did it, you can also do it. Like you see it, right? Like he became their motivation. So it doesn't really matter. Like how low you are, as long as you keep that focus, you're 100%. You don't make too much of excuses and stuff. You definitely get to reach that high level you want to be. You can be a great author, be as great as you want to be, as long as you're 100% focused. Yeah.
Very, very powerful. Jason, very powerful, very inspirational. And when you said the 2 or 3 Christmases thing, Christmas by my house was a time when we could all sit around the table together, and there'd be salads, and there'd be, of course, inkoko shiki. And it was, because then the day before, Dad would go buy a crate of drinks, and it was such a great day. So for him to say 2 or 3 Christmases, I understand that.
Pretty much.
So, what do you hope? And I know we've circled around the Lord and you probably answered this question, but I want it to be the final question, the finale. What do you hope people take away from this book?
The book, the coming book.
Could it be a situation where, because when you say it's about heartbreak and it's normal, there are times where, like, when I think about my own heartbreak, I think to myself, like, I've been heartbroken so many times. I think the next time the pain would be different, but it seems the pain is always the same. It's never different. I'll go to Polenga, she breaks my heart. I'll go to Janet, I'm thinking it will be different. No, she still breaks my heart. So what's the message? Is it that we are all screwed? What do you hope we take from there? Without killing what's good in the book initially.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I understand why maybe you're hesitant, because it might kill what goes on in the book.
Okay, yeah. I was actually in thirds, like I was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's persistent. So it pretty much hits me that I've written 4 books so far, and the world barely knows who Besson Siambola is, what my name is. So that's why I decided to frame this particular book as a Stepping Out of Darkness book, because I want the world to know me, to know who Besson Siambola is. Once you read this particular book, to know how really good I am. I believe I'm good, and it's just a matter of like the world, being introduced to the world. And when I was writing this book, I gave it some sort of a title. It's not exactly the title for the book, but there was a name I was calling it. And what I was calling this book was the $1 Million Plus Project, because that's how big I imagined this book to be. That's how different I imagined it to be, like from the other books that I've written. Like that's why I had to put so much time, so much effort, put myself in isolation for so much time to like put it down, because I really wanted to be like different from the other books that I've written. This one should pretty much like make the world see me. I have to step into the light and every eye should see me. So basically that's how like I want people to see this book. It's a Stepping Out of Darkness book. It has to introduce me to the world, yes.
I'm now part of the conversation, and you can't ignore me anymore.
Exactly.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I love that. Could you, and I don't know whether you're fine with telling the people the title of your book, but if not, you can talk about your book launch, the date. You can just tell the people when exactly it's happening.
Yeah, so things are a little bit different with this launch. I had a launch last year. This one I'm doing it a little bit different. People knew the title way before the launch happened, but this one I just want to keep it a secret. Yeah, I want people to learn about the title on the actual book launch day. Like it's going to be a special time, a special moment when the title of the book is going to be announced. Yeah, so it's going to be a secret for now. And the reason why I don't want the title to be out there is because there's something I don't want like to trigger in people's minds. Yeah, like I just want that kind of thought that like I'm imagining to just like click in once the book is announced. Yeah, so it's a secret for now. So you just have to make sure that you attend the event and be one of the first people to know what the title of this particular book is. And then about the dates, the venue of the book launch, which I'll be having next month on the 23rd. It's going to be at Impika campus, CBU, yeah, then in the VCOT, and for the tickets, they are 50 kwacha. And then also this t-shirt I'm putting on, and yeah, this t-shirt, Change to the Pen t-shirts. This is going to be the theme of the whole event, Change to the Pen. Yeah, it's got a story behind it, and I'm going to tell it on the actual day. So that's that about the launch, the big event that is coming next month.
And I'd really love to continue picking apart your brain based on, but unfortunately, as all good things do, the interview has come to an end. We'll be there, we'll support you. You've heard it yourselves, based on 23rd of June?
June.
Yes. Be there, make sure you're there. You won't want to miss this glorious event. Bason, it's been a pleasure interviewing you. I hope to have many of these encounters later. Thank you.